We know they're playing more than one Ruination, but I don't think we can afford to play around it right now. They're at 7. We can't develop enough threat if they Ruination anyway. Okay. That doesn't do anything. I will purify that so they get a bunch of 2/2s. They do not get lifesteal. Oh, man. All right. Spooky Karma. I don't even know if I've played against this deck. I don't think I play as much as other content creators because, I mean, a lot of content creators stream this game all the time and I don't stream it. I just play it and make YouTube videos of it because I like it. I don't really, actually, I do kind of like attacking with Zed twice. I don't think we need this guy. These guys are more powerful. And Rally, I want to try an early Relentless Pursuit, see how it feels. If we skip turn 1 and turn 2. Yeah, we'll experiment. I want to see how powerful it feels to play Zed with Relentless Pursuit. See if it's just an easy level up of Zed. And if it is an easy level up of Zed, is it worth it?
I am the blade in the darkness.
I am the blade in the darkness. Well, there goes our plans. It's a fucking fantastic card. So, we don't get to attack with Zed this turn, but we get to develop a bigger board now at least. Plan foiled, we'll get them next time. We do get to play 2 Feather Trackers into a Lucian. I will gladly accept. And then we can actually still use Rally this turn. If we decide that's what we would like to do.
The dark beckons.
See how much more interaction they have this turn. They're at 4 mana. No Withering Wail. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Not that bad though.
Don't get in my way.
Okay.
This fight isn't over.
We'll attack, attack, attack. Smack, smack.
Shadows cut deep as any weapon.
Shadows can cut as deep as any weapon. Let's take a look at that art. That is a pretty cool art, I won't lie. What is his leveled up art? Yeah, that's pretty cool too. All right, what did they decide to do here? Easy. I think we attack and level up Zed immediately. Or we, We could get one more enemy to die, we'd be able, or one more ally to die, we'd be able to do that. I think we just, go with this though. Don't let them play any cards. We do have a single combat if we need to for something. Can you hear that? Withering Wail. Yeah, it sucks, I'll admit. So they've killed this guy. We want to prevent them from getting their 1/1. This also keeps Lucian alive, and Lucian will actually level up as well. So, I don't know if he's going to be strong enough to survive, but I think that's better than doing the other one. Who's not heard of LeBron? Where's my fucking bottle cap? There we go. We actually have a decent, like, they have more cards on us, but we have a lot of value in our hand. These cards are fantastic. Ooh. I don't mind blocking with this guy. Yeah, that's kind of what we were expecting. Yeah, we don't care too much. Like, we do care, obviously, but it's not literally the worst thing. We might be able to come back from it. That's fucking obnoxious. That card is so ridiculously good. Can't attack now. I mean, I could kill this, but I don't know. Now I just made a bad play because I'm salty. Okay, we'll add a For Demacia to our hand. We're trying to, like, we're not trying to play around Ruination. We don't know if they play it. It's honestly kind of hard to tell. I'm feeling maybe they run a one of or something, but I don't know. They're playing like a lot of this kind of stuff.
So we may end it.
No Zed. There we go. Okay, they are both alive. So Vile Feast will kill either one of them. We're gonna hope they don't have it. I want to know if I play an ally after the fact, if it still gives them +3/+3. They're probably gonna deny this. They're probably running 3 denies.
Courage, soldier.
Okay, no deny.
My path is clear.
We are gonna play this. See if it does not give. I guess it could give allies +3/+3 this round. I understand it basically targets everything, but I'll admit that's annoying. All right. Well, we will have you attack with here, 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 here. You pull this guy, and we don't care what the rest do. We want this guy to live.
Find enlightenment.
All right, let's see what their last cards are. This Relentless Pursuit's really powerful right now.
The balance.
All right, what do they got? I will gladly Relentless Pursuit. Let's see if they have their deny. Revive a random ally that died this turn. Not good enough. Although that is that when I'm summoned? That's stupid powerful, I'll admit. We will block here.
We march.
No one goes hungry.
They're at -10 right now. They're gonna block this, which is 10. That puts them exactly to 0. And 2 mana. This giving everything -1, -0 actually almost put them out of the range of lethal. How crazy is that? All right. All right. Good game. Yeah, that one was, it went better than I thought it would. I was not expecting to win about halfway through that game once they got our Lucian with that 5/5 life stealer. Good game. Play it through to the end. You know, you never know. Is anyone playing this game? These queue times, bro. Oh, this is going to be a fun deck. So this is Spooter aggro, probably. Very likely Spooter in this combination, but maybe a more Katarina rally-focused version. I like all these early game cards. I like all these cards. This card is particularly decent at killing Elise when I have a War Chef.
That egg, did it move?
If they play Elise next turn, I feel a little bad. We'll see what they do first, though. We'll just attack straight up.
Real battle.
we'll play Lucian.
There's a chill in the air.
I changed my mind. We could play both these side by side. They do have the Elise.
Of course you would.
So, but now we could play Tracker into War Chef to kill Elise. On our next attack, I suppose. Like, it's kind of what I wanted to do is play this, have them play Elise, then play a War Chef and trade with it. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna flop this right now. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. We don't care about that at all. Okay. Our mana is awkward this turn. But we only get to kill Elise by having these two cards combined.
Burn away the shadows.
Attack!
Eat up, friend.
Alright, let's see what they got to keep Elise alive. There's not a whole lot in those colors defensively. A lot of things that make them stronger, but not much defensively. Alright, that's totally fine. We honestly don't even care. Oh my god, that's so brutal. Do it, please. I don't care about that. I would rather have you have no cards. Jeez, holy crap. Yeah, that's a... I didn't even realize, because I forgot it's +2/+2, not +3/+3 anymore. Jeez,
Let the bloodshed begin.
let's get this for Demacia right now, because it's
They're afraid.
this 3-mana body being front-loaded is super annoying. No, we'll take the damage. We don't care. We might start caring soon. Like, obviously, Katarina is nuts. But as of this exact moment, our mana has been so fucking clunky. That might be the death of us this game, honestly. Cool. Yeah. Because we've been throwing away mana every turn. Just because we haven't had the right spells. Or, the right units. The right time. 6/9. So we could play Zed into 4 Demacia and probably just win on the spot, though.
Returned with interest.
Oh, yeah, that's weak. That's weak. We might even just be able to attack. That's not what you want to see, is it? Let's do a 4 Demacia. We probably could just Relentless Pursuit as well, but this is definitely more powerful.
Stand strong.
I've got an attack for you. We will make Zed stronger because it does double up. Sometimes you might want to make this 5/5 stronger, but it's okay. All right, you got 4 blockers. I gotta say, the 5 that they got is absolutely trash. I mean, unless they have something to combine it with, like it could be really good. But you know, did they not do the math? I don't know, man. Whatever. Listen, you gotta take those wins when you can get them. I don't know if we played that well, but I know we played better than them at the very least. So, you know, that's a consolidation prize. Thank you very much for a good game, opponent. Forgot to hit record, but here we are. We're playing against an ephemeral deck. Super boring. You know, a lot of ephemeral decks going around today, it seems.
Smell that? A fight's a cooking.
Are you the chef or chief?
That's my
Oh, War Chef. For some reason, I thought this said War Chief, which would make more sense, I suppose. But actually, this is a way cooler card that it's Chef's. That's funny. I like that. I'll gladly attack. Purify is going to be nuts in this matchup, I suspect.
Do not fear the shrouded path.
This is strong enough to kill Zed if he attacks with it, so that's why we do it.
They'll never see us coming.
Close my eyes. Make it fair.
Okay, questionable on his part. But that's why we played that card. Alright, what do we do here? Do we just play Zed? We have Zed Purify. And then we play Zed Purify.
Shadows
Also, or single combat if that's what we need. So weird that they would give up their Zed that easily.
Batter 'em!
They won't suffer.
Hardly. No one goes hungry.
Look at that. Yeah, Zed with the chefs are pretty good. Why am I saying that like weird, like chefs? Because I don't know. Because in my head I started to say chiefs again, but it's chefs. Chefs. 4, 8, 9, 10 damage. This thing is dying. What do you got? Recall a unit. That is totally acceptable. It doesn't even like really matter to me. I mean, but you spent 4 mana to undo 3 mana. So we'll play
New
this.
recruit reporting in.
We're playing a Vanguard Bannerman this coming up turn, so. Ooh, do we wait 1 turn? Yeah, I think we do. I think we play another War Chief. Fuck you, I'll say however I want.
I will play my part.
We will absolutely. If we play that, we can't do anything else, though. I think we just take it. And we play Zed
Do
again.
not fear the shrouded path.
End round. Alright, Vanguard Bannerman, don't let me down. There's only 2 cards in the deck that don't work.
Safeguard our citizens.
Well, he's playing Ruination also. It didn't matter. But Jesus Christ. I'm not exaggerating what I've said. I've played Bannerman 3 times. There's only 3 cards in this whole deck. 3 out of 40 cards. Because the 3 are Zeds. Outside of that, I'm saying the Bannerman's not worked once yet. It's whiffed all 3 times. That's just a statistical impossibility. Oh shit, this levels up Zed. It doesn't matter.
Claim what is
He goes up to a 4-3. We could kill him when keeping our guy alive, which is more important.
I've got your back.
Which is why I'm doing it this way. Ruination definitely fucked us hard. We have to go for this for Demacia. But this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 5. We only have 8, so we can't play Purify this turn. We could threaten lethal. Okay, let's do it. We can't threaten lethal anymore, but they will have to block a bunch. What do they have for 2 mana? Basically nothing. Vile Feast, that doesn't make a difference. Okay. And it gives them a blocker, I will admit.
Do not deny me.
We attack.
We go as one.
Yeah, they gotta block that.
Such naivete.
Brings them down to 1.
I bring you first.
Okay, their stuff dies, my stuff lives. Don't need to use this. If they didn't block and they thought they were 1 damage off, that would have been fine as well. Okay. What do they have now for their last point of damage? Lifesteal.
I'll write my own story.
Luckily, we can remove all text and keywords from that. We know they're playing more than 1 Ruination, but I don't think we can afford to play around it right now. They're at 7. We can't develop enough threat if they Ruination anyway. Okay. That doesn't do anything. I will purify that so they get a bunch of 2/2s. They do not get lifesteal. Oh, man. All right. We got there. That game was closer than I thought it would be for sure. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Plat. So today's video is basically a mono Demacia deck, as you can see, but there's 3 Ionia cards, which is Zed. You might have seen this deck on ladder. It's ranked pretty high in the Mobalytics tier list. It's called Bannerman Zed. So I wanted to try out this deck, one, because whenever there's new S tier decks, I'm just kind of interested in playing them. One, because it's fun to win, but also, more than that even, is because it does help you kind of learn what decks are good, why they're good, what about them makes them good. Is it, you know, it kind of helps you better understand card games, or how the card game is in general. Like, one thing that becomes more apparent as you play this card game more is how good 2-mana 3/2s are comparatively to other card games. A lot of times 2-mana 3/2s are like weak. Like in Hearthstone, you want a 2-mana 2/3. You don't want the 3/2 for the most part. But in this game, because it just, the way it works, because it's kind of closer to Magic with how you can block, things don't attack into your things, it's harder for things to trade up. You can use your cards to trade up. Like, 3/2 is potentially more defensive a lot of times than a 2/3, which is kind of weird. In the Hearthstone, it's different. You know, it's harder to trade into a 2/3. But because you get to choose what blocks when it blocks, it makes things harder to attack. It makes it harder to attack into without losing their stuff. But also, I just kind of wanted to try this deck because I was interested that there was a deck that was mono, but with just Zed. Obviously, Zed is pretty nuts in general. We all know that. He's one of the stronger champions. 3-mana 3/2 is quick attack. Whenever he attacks, he creates a clone of himself. That also is a 3-mana 3/2, but it has ephemeral. When Zed levels up, he becomes a 4/3, so he gets the +1/+1, and then his Living Shadow gets the keywords. The Living Shadow gets the keywords is, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it's not particularly relevant. Because quick attack doesn't matter because it has ephemeral, so it's going to die anyway. So quick attack is something that helps attackers stay alive. It does not help an ephemeral shadow stay alive. If you can give other keywords, tough doesn't matter, right? Because it dies anyway after attacking because it's ephemeral. If you could get rid of the ephemeral and put it on something, you know, it becomes good. Shadow Isles can do that. If you give lifesteal, that could be pretty good. If you give Overwhelm is the big one, right? If you can give Overwhelm to Zed, then that getting on this other thing, like if you get +3/+0 and Overwhelm, that's really, really good on a Living Shadow. But for the most part, Zed's pretty good even unleveled up. But so this deck is just mono Demacia, right? Demacia is surprisingly powerful. I used to rank it pretty low. I've kind of come around on it overall. Between, you know, even the 1-mana 2/2 is just pretty good. You know, it's obviously overstatted as heck. 1-mana combat tricks, very good. Brightsteel Protector is a phenomenal card. Holy crap, is a 2-mana 3/2 a perfect stat line? And then giving something barrier, it's not always relevant, but it's like usually relevant. If you have like a 1-mana, just like a 1-mana Fleet World Tracker, and you play this into a Brightsteel Protector, it's just so good. It trades with almost all 2-drops in the game besides, like, there are some like Elise that it doesn't trade into, but even then, it's not hard to have this, like, because then this could trade into Elise, right? This card will, even if this lives, so this could trade with their 1-drop, while this trades with their Elise or something like that. Which is just like, it's just such a good card. If you're playing Demacia, you're basically always playing this card. Lucian, surprisingly, just kind of the same, right? It's just a more offensive card than, it's a 2-mana 3/2, awesome stat line. You could use it offensively, you could use it defensively. Obviously, Lucian also, though, has quick attack, which makes him really, really good offensively. He has to watch 4 allies die or Senna. We're not playing any Senna in this deck, though. Senna is not that good of a card. It's like okay, but it's not good enough, I don't think, for the slot, at least right now with what this deck's trying to do. But Lucian leveling up is absolutely disgusting. 2-mana 4/3 double attack, and first time an ally dies each round, you rally. Really, really, really nuts, especially with Zed. Obviously, because Zed's Ephemeral Shadow is already fueling up the level up, but then if you attack, this and a Zed both attack, you'll automatically rally because the Ephemeral thing, even if none of your units die, you'll get to rally and attack again. So, Lucian and Zed work really, really well together. Not to mention, if you have multiple Lucians, you get Relentless Pursuit, which is also fantastic. And it's just a great 2-mana play, so Lucian's phenomenal. Purify, again, like, I see why this deck is, like, top tier. Purify is also just an insanely powerful card. It's so good in so many situations. Now, we're not running Detain, I don't think. Let's take a look here, actually. Yeah, I didn't think so. I was thinking about adding it because I like Detain, but we're not running Detain, but this card is just so good. And so, this game, Legends of Runeterra, combat tricks, cheap combat tricks at burst speed are powerful, and very prevalent. They're everywhere. Purify is basically a deny, but it's a deny that can hurt burst spells in a lot of these situations. If they're using back-to-back, maybe that's a bad example, I suppose, but if they're using like the Wrath Elixir, right? +3/+0, or the other one that's +0/+2, or there's the 3-mana Twin Discipline, +3/+0 or +0/+3. If they use that, it's a burst spell. You can interact with it, but what we could do is you get a chance to play a card after they resolve it, so then you could Purify. So it's like it's a deny for burst spell combat speed. So for everything deny misses, Purify tends to hit. And it's also this ridiculously good against Shadow Isles creatures, like if they're trying to go the Undying, and things like that, Last Breath things. It hits so many things. It doesn't hit champions, but it would be one of the most powerful. It might be the most powerful card if it hit champions, because it would turn their build around cards into duds. Just stat sticks that aren't even efficient stat sticks most of the time. So Purify, phenomenal. You guys have seen it. Single combat, one of the best removal spells in the game. It's 2 mana, and it is relevant in the early game. It's relevant in the late game. Like, obviously, Black Spear pre-nerf is like really good. It could deal 3 damage. Get Excited is 3 mana to deal 3 damage. Sometimes this is 2 mana, deal like 5 damage or something. And it's really good for killing the Heimerdingers, the Karmas. Now, a lot of times you will lose a minion in this, but you don't really care that much about trading in a minion to get this effect. And there's still a lot of times on top of that, you won't get, your minion won't die, and you will just get a good trade. You get attack, especially because a lot of our things have quick attack. If they lose a couple of HP while using a single combat, it usually doesn't matter that much because when they're attacking, they're safe anyway. So single combat, insanely powerful. War Chefs, I think this card's pretty good. Definitely earns its slot. I don't think it's as powerful as some of the other cards, but it's definitely support, give my ally +1/+1 this round. It definitely does a lot of good things in this deck, especially when we have some rally. It does help with single combat. It is cool with all the challenger we have, so it's definitely a deck that earns its spot, even though if it's not as powerful as some of the other cards. I think Laurent is kind of in the same spot. 3 mana, 2/4. I think with challenger, I think on paper this card sounds kind of weak. Like, I look at it, I'm like, it's kind of got low stats, doesn't it? Like, I wish it was a 2/5 or something. But when you're actually playing with it, this card is so relevant a lot of the time. Honestly, it's mostly relevant because there are so many 2-drop 3/2s, right? Because they're really good in this game, that having a 3-drop 2/4 being strong enough to kill a 3/2 and then survive also is really, really good. Obviously, Challenger is just phenomenal in general. It lets you kill their things that they don't want to die, especially if you can give this +1 attack, then suddenly it's kind of like a Get Excited that you might be able to use more than once, right? It could deal 3 damage more than one time a lot of the times. Relentless Pursuit, I don't need to explain why Rally's good. It's especially good with Zed and Lucy, and I already kind of talked about it earlier. Vanguard Sergeant, a 3 mana 3/3. Summon add a For Demacia to your hand, which is a 6 mana. Give all allies +3/+3 this round. This card is pretty good. I need to just jam this card more. I don't like playing the 3 mana 3/3 that much. But once you get the Demacia in your hand, it becomes way easier to play it. When you have this card in between you and the For Demacia, when you want to play a For Demacia, is really clunky. So this is like, my play patterns wants me to hold off on playing this card in favor of Zeds and stuff most of the time, or, maybe playing more mana efficient, like on turn 4, right? Play like 2/2-drops instead of playing this. But sometimes you just got to get this guy down so you get this in your hand, so you're able to then fit this into a turn while playing units, because it can be really hard to play this and have enough mana to also play this, because that's 9 mana, right? And if you have the earlier drops, it becomes suddenly much easier to do. Anyway, it's a good card. For Demacia is obviously way better when you have some rally going on, but it's really good with Zed. It's really good with basically everything in the deck. +3/+3 is a huge buff. If you're getting +15 from it, it's like really, really good. If you have 5 units, all +3/+3, do the math, +15/+15. So the reason this deck is built around 2 cards, essentially. It's called Zed Bannerman, as you can see up here. It's got the Zed quick attack, we've talked about it, really good, and then the Vanguard Bannerman. I think this deck, the one negative thing I want to say about this deck, is this deck highlights really well why I don't like the Allegiance mechanic. in general. Like I like that there's a mechanic that incentivizes mono-colored decks, essentially. You know, Hearthstone has forced mono decks basically by having you know, classes. Magic does just have mono decks as being, you know, like mono red is like really, really powerful, things like that. But I do like it when there's a mechanic that's like, hey, if your whole deck is this region, this one card, you know, you're sacrificing a lot in the deck building, but this one card becomes more powerful. I like that. I don't like the way this works. I wish it was just reworked in a way where if your deck only had this region, then this effect does happen, which it does read that, but also then once you start adding other cards like Zed or other cards in there, it then starts saying, when you play this card, you have this % chance for this effect to happen. And I don't like the % chance for this to happen. It just, you've seen this a lot in a lot of like the Mistwalker decks or whatever, where sometimes it would, like there's decks that run like 50-50, almost a 50% between two regions, which is like, obviously you're not even favoring the region you want to do it. You don't typically want to do that. But that means when you play a card with Allegiance, you still have like a 50% chance to have a really potentially overpowered card without having to make any deck restrictions. So I don't like that sometimes you high roll and get this awesome effect or you low roll and then you just have a slightly below average card. But then on the flip side of it, what the other part I don't like is I played this deck for, I don't know, I've played like 10 games with this deck so far, and I only have 3 Zeds. Every other card in this deck is Demacia. The first 3 times I played the Bannerman, I got no Allegiance effect, even though the whole deck is essentially the one thing, because there's 3 cards that aren't. Zed was the top card of my deck the very first 3 times I played this, so I just don't like the high rolly, low rolly nature of it. I know it adds restrictions to the way you build your deck, but I don't like the way in which it does it. I wish it had a slightly different mechanic. I don't know if it needed to be completely restricted to where if every card in your deck is X, this region, then X happens, or if they just kind of changed it, like if the top, you know, look at the top 4 cards of your deck or something, if 2 of the 4 or something, or you know, one of those is like this, something, no, because that probably wouldn't work either. I don't know, I don't really like the % chance that they have right now in this. I prefer more definite effects in my card games for the most part. It feels like a Hearthstone mechanic to me, and that's not to insult it. Like, it's fine and it's good, but I don't like when I play this card if I don't know if it's going to work. It makes it hard for me to plan my plays going forward, because I'm like, all right, I'll play this. If this works, then X. If it doesn't work, then, you know, Z, because I think it just leads to more feel bad moments than it needs to. But that being said, obviously Vanguard Bannerman is nuts. Especially in this deck, when it does go off, the first 3 times it may not have worked, but the following 3 it did. So it's just a ridiculously powerful card when the effect goes off, especially when you have a relatively full board, right? You've got good 1-drops, you've got good 2-drops, you've got good 3-drops, and then boom, on 4, you're given everything. Sometimes this comes down and it's a 4/4 of stats itself, given an additional +3/+3, you know, based off, you know, to your other cards. So really good, great for pushing it in, pushing in the final damage. This is the card that I felt kind of weird with. Swiftwing Lancer is the final card in the deck. It's a little pricey. It's great value. It's a 5 mana 5/4 challenger. Great. There's nothing bad about this card. It's good value. It trades with things well. It attacks well. It just felt a bit expensive for what I wanted, and I didn't find that I really needed the 5/4 challenger that much at this stage in the game. I typically would have preferred some sort of maybe a more combat spell, you know, a more combat spelly, maybe even just have a another 1 or 2 early minions that are arguably better. Maybe, you know, maybe run instead of 3 of these, run 2 Sennas, 1 of these. But I mean, the 3-spot slot is pretty high contested. You don't really need that, I guess, right now. But it just, I don't know, to me it felt a little expensive. Maybe even a Blade Keeper might be good, because this is obviously really good on Zed. It's pretty darn good on Lucian. And it's pretty good on basically everybody, right? It's essentially kind of the similar stats of this, but at a turn early, and you don't get the value of it later. But maybe that's how I would do it. Maybe have 1 of those, get 2 of these. And another thing about this deck, if you don't use your spell mana, it's actually not that bad, because you are running, you know, Purify single combat, and you're running 3, essentially 4 Demasias, those could be really hard to play while playing stuff. So getting that spell mana up, so even on turn 5, if you play this instead of the Lancer, I feel like that could be pretty good. So I'm going to make that change. Keep in mind, I'm not as good as the people that made this deck originally. I'm just going off my personal experience and what I felt from the interactions. I didn't feel like Swiftwing Lancer was a standout, powerful card. But now that I've gone through the whole deck and rambled for far too long, guys, I hope you enjoyed the clips. Hope you're excited for the next one. If there's any decks you want me to play, leave it in the description below. There's a good chance I've already played something similar to it, but honestly, we're kind of getting to the point where I have almost a full collection. I've played almost all the cards I wanted to play. I've only got like 2 or 3 more deck ideas that I'm really interested in, so I am interested in hearing what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching. You have a great day. The Purplatypus is Purplatypus. See you next time.